I mean, trust me, the show has made tons of accurate predictions, and if you're wondering what they have for us this year, brace yourself for some of the most pleasant and unpleasant surprises as we have a look at the terrible Simpsons predictions for 2024.
Now, we saved your ass in World War II.
Yeah, well, we saved your ass in World War III.
That's true.
Meet the Simpsons. In case the name sounds unfamiliar, The Simpsons is an animated family sitcom that centers around a family of 5. It began in 1987. In only 3 years, it became popular in the United States.
Fried dough, America's worst legal food, never leaves your body.
It remains one of the most popular shows to date. The greatest wonder of The Simpsons is that it has continued for over 3 decades.
Coach will be parent, volunteer, and Bart owner, Homer Simpson.
And keeps entertaining audiences and fans with chaotic storylines and amazing humor.
Food, Dad, food.
However, it's also known to be one of the most controversial shows. Sandwiched in between the chaos and humor are some prophetic scenes that have proven to be accurate predictions of the future. Events that have made the fans and viewers wonder if writers of the show could be aliens, fortune tellers, or even elites that run the affairs of the world. In fact, there seem to be no major events that have taken place around the globe that the show didn't give a clue of. And if you find it hard to believe that a cartoon actually gave a clue of certain happenings in the future, well, we should have a look at some of the most prophetic predictions that have come to pass. Past prophecies. No doubt The Simpsons seem to have been a representative of the future, or maybe they actually have a time machine with which they travel there and explore things that are to come.
I'm sorry, can we call it that?
Yes, it's the preferred term, and most scientists believe that what enters a black hole never comes out.
Some of the fictional scenes are replicated so accurately in real life that they become hard to ignore. One example is a scene in 1995 in an episode called Lisa's Wedding. It shows Lisa chatting with her fiancé over a video call. You have to remember this was at a time when such technology did not exist, but surprisingly, BlackBerry came out with a shocker only 2 years later.
Here's the BlackBerry Classic.
You know how BlackBerry phones took the world by storm? And it looked like The Simpsons had really seen it coming. However, so many people may not have paid attention to them then. Just one happening may sound like a mere coincidence.
What happens if I press this button? Sorry.
And the predictions just kept on hitting the bullseye over and over again. In 2008, a similar scenario takes place when a character received a video call on his wristwatch. That year, viewers must have thought that it was an expensive joke and one of those impossible animated gadgets. But to the shock of everyone, Apple then launched their smartwatch only a few years later. Before you go thinking that producers of the show only predict things in the world of technology, we should talk about how they also showed a character called NSA Guy in one of their episodes in 2000. The character steals some secret information from the National Security Agency and escapes to Cuba. Fast forward 13 years later, and Edward Snowden, a contractor with the NSA, had leaked documents, and to cap it all off, he then escaped to Cuba. This occurrence shook the world and had everyone pointing back to The Simpsons. This is one issue that really depicted the show's writers as fortune tellers who were probably experimenting with dark magic because there's no way anyone could have foreseen such an event.
Just like the Chickenfoot say you would.
Not even with that level of accuracy. However, as popular as it all was, it's still not close to their biggest predictions yet. A 2003 episode of The Simpsons predicted what would happen with Siegfried and Roy. The entertainment show involved 2 men who could be classified as magicians or stuntmen, having some white tigers that would usually wow the audience with their tamed animals. But the tigers took things to a new level when one of them latched onto Roy's sleeve in 2003, leading to damage of his spine. Of course, they had blamed it on several factors, including trainers of the tigers. The incident was destined to be part of the end of the 40-year-old show. But there's a twist. The damage may have well been avoided if they had simply watched The Simpsons 10 years earlier. In a 1993 episode, the show had predicted the scenario in a hilarious way. They showed two stuntmen performing with white tigers, just like Siegfried and Roy, and then everything goes haywire one day when one of the tigers developed a mind of its own. Of all the Simpsons predictions that have come to pass, there seems to be one that stands on top of the charts, and it involves the COVID-19 pandemic that ravaged the world and caused a shutdown in 2020.
A new disease. No one's immune. It's like the summer of the shark, except instead of a shark, it's an epidemic. And instead of summer, it's all the time.
You'll be shocked that The Simpsons already foretold that occurrence since the early days. In an episode titled Marge in Chains, which aired in 1993, it shows the outbreak of a disease which they called the Osaka Flu.
The dreaded Osaka Flu has hit Springfield with over 300 cases now reported.
27 years before the outbreak of COVID, the episode showed how the Osaka Flu had spread from part of Asia to the fictional town of Springfield, and the mode of transportation was much like that of COVID. It cannot be written off as mere fiction.
Please don't tell the supervisor I have the flu.
I've been working with a shattered pelvis for 3 weeks.
In the animated fiction, a factory worker sneezed into a juice package before it was sent to Springfield, and as soon as residents opened it, they contracted the virus that they all came down with. To make the prediction even more accurate, the writers popped in a character named Tom Hanks.
Hello, I'm Tom Hanks. The U.S. government has lost its credibility, so it's...
And he also seemed to be down with the flu in that episode. Fast forward to 2020, after the outbreak of the virus, the real-life Tom Hanks and his wife stated on Instagram that they had tested positive to the virus. So do you still think the prediction was mere luck on the writer's part? One of the co-writers of the episode seems to think so. Reluctant to own up to allegations, Bill Oakley claimed that the episode was not a prophecy about COVID, but a funny mimicry of the 1968 flu outbreak that happened in Hong Kong. I guess history just simply repeated itself, or was the co-writer trying to shy away from the truth about their own show? Whatever the excuse they tried to give, one thing's for sure: The Simpsons mirrored the future, and we've seen many of their scenes come to play in real life. It has left them open to accept that their scenes were prophetic or not. We've seen accurate depictions in the past. Let's take a look, for example, at what they may have had in our world in 2024. And trust me, just halfway into the year, some of the predictions have begun to come into fruition. The rise of artificial intelligence. As we all know, a new fear seems to have taken over the world, and this is nothing but the fear of robots taking people's jobs. In the present day, it seems to have grown in the hearts of everyone, including experts, who are also worried that the new artificial intelligence technology has become so lifelike that they could even do better than most professionals. It's no longer a question of how good you are at your job, but whether or not your boss is ready to bring robots to take it. Though these robots and AI seem to be a new development in today's world, The Simpsons have seen it coming for years. More than 10 years before, in an episode of The Simpsons which was named Them Robots, the main character Homer works at a nuclear power plant.
Where's the snooze button? Oh, that's better. March on a Tuesday?
And lost his job when the boss decides to replace all of the workers.
It's time for afternoon announcements. This Monday, the plant will be conducting physical examinations of all employees. Anyone testing positive for narcotics will be terminated immediately.
Funnily enough, Mr. Burns said that his staff would train the robots so they could become better than them and eventually replace them. It's over a decade from that episode, and that's exactly what's happening today.
Oh, Bart the Little Dickens is going through that phase where young boys think their dad's an idiot.
Sounds like you are having family difficulties. Our programming restricts our movement to yellow guidance lines.
Tech companies are building artificial intelligence that learn language in the ways of men and then replicate them better. Imagine an AI taking over the job of a coder and a programmer, the same people who trained the machines in the first place. And if that sounds like something I just made up to make the story sweeter, then here's a shocking real-life example. An AI researcher named Blake Lemoine, who worked for Google, the man recently was fired because he said that Google's AI became too lifelike. And tell me whose job is really safe in 2024. And if you think the rise of AI would only affect factory workers or those that are into tech, you may be wrong. As against all the thoughts that robots would only take over factory work, we now have them as servers in some parts of Asia, and they've been made to be more efficient than humans. The Simpsons have predicted artificial intelligence taking over the world of law enforcement as well. According to them, we may soon have police robots patrolling the streets and handling criminal cases. This year has seen the rise of AI that can understand and feel emotions, so 2024 could also be a year when people experience the possibilities of having an AI spouse. That could already be happening today. But trust me, it's not completely off the hook, because The Simpsons showed something like that in one of their episodes.
After this procedure, you will have total closure from your divorce.
So you're sure I'm cured? No more feelings from my ex-wife?
I'm positive.
One of the characters had made a robot version of his ex-wife, and while it may have seemed like another cartoon joke, the possibility of an AI girlfriend or wife is not all that far-fetched in 2024. The subject of AI is now more than just taking people's jobs. They could take their families as well, which sounds kind of scary. Speaking of scary, The Simpsons predicted the rise of AI and robots that seem to take over the world, and it looks like they may have foreseen some side effects to that as well. Robots lack genuine emotions and kindness, and the rise in their numbers could pose a threat to the existence of man. In an old episode of The Simpsons, such scenarios happen where AI goes rogue. The 94 episode named Itchy and Scratchy Land shows them in a theme park that was run by robots. And then, in a turn of events, the robots went haywire and rebelled against the human creators. And so, with the rise of artificial intelligence, do you think that we may have a replica of this episode in reality? And is it possible for robots to think that humans are in the way? Only time will tell, but as we see the good of artificial intelligence, The Simpsons may have predicted that the bad and the ugly will also be on the way. The return of Donald Trump. If there's one thing that the writers of The Simpsons don't seem to hide, it's their obsession with Donald Trump. The special attention towards the man began in 1998 on an episode titled Bart to the Future, which showed a character who they did not only name Trump, but also gave the exact look of Donald Trump. The episode showed him as the 45th President of the United States.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
But no one would have paid attention to them because at the time, he wasn't even involved in politics. He was just one loud reality TV star who was invested in his business. But the fiction came true in 2015 when he announced his candidacy.
Our country needs a truly great leader. I am officially running for President of the United States,
as foretold by The Simpsons, and became the 45th President of the United States the following year. As soon as it happened, the entire country went into a frenzy, and all fingers would point at an old episode of The Simpsons, which was an exact picture of what happened.
But he says so.
Mr. President, you have the right to remain silent.
Pardon me?
Some began to see the show differently from then on, while others believed that it was a lucky guess that had simply come to pass. But if you ask me, the prediction in that episode was too detailed and accurate to be downplayed as mere guessing work. They say that time reveals all things, and it really did when Donald Trump came back in November of 2022 to announce his intentions to run for the presidency again. Without wasting time, one of the writers of The Simpsons figured it was their time to flaunt the prediction powers, and so he took to social media, posting a picture of evidence where they predicted the return in one of the old episodes, which was aired in 2015. It was built around a time when The Simpsons had time traveled to the future, where we see Homer passing by a sign that reads Trump 2024. And here's the mind-blowing part. It was written way before Trump had showed any intention to run for the presidency at all. Predicting his return, when he hadn't even done anything in terms of that at all, shows the writers of the show are far from ordinary. And now that we have the prediction from The Simpsons, and it seems to be coming to pass,
we need to make them work again. Tomorrow, when you are sealed in the voting cubicle, vote for me!
Should we begin getting ready for Trump to win the 24 election and come back to the White House? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. A female president. In The Simpsons episode called Bart to the Future, which was aired in 2000, the show may have made another crazy prediction that we may see coming in 2024. The episode shows Lisa as the President of the United States, which would mean the first female is somewhere around the corner, or we could have it already.
Excellent. excellent question. Yes, I am proud to be America's first straight female president.
Kamala Harris is the first female vice president, but some believe that she may be sitting as the president soon.
I am incredibly honored by this responsibility, and I'm ready to get to work.
Because of Biden's old age and health. In fact, she might have assumed the position once Biden was off due to his colonoscopy. However, if that doesn't count as being the first female president of the United States, and if Kamala Harris really is the one that was predicted, I guess there's still a lot of time in the year for that to happen. Perhaps we should expect her to also show her intentions to run for office, or there could be another female candidate preparing to shock everyone. Whether it's Kamala Harris or someone else, it's not known. The chances of a female president emerging is high, though, and perhaps we should all start preparing for that soon.
Yes, I am proud to be America's first straight female president.
Economic meltdown. Leveraging on their obsession with Donald Trump, the Simpsons seemed to reveal a foretold financial crisis that would grip the United States and the world at large after Trump's presidency. In the year 2000 episode, where they foretold the ascension of a female president, they also gave a sneak peek into the financial crisis that would arise.
We're broke.
The country is broke? How can that be?
Well, remember when the last administration decided to invest in our nation's children?
Due to some decisions made by Donald Trump during his tenure. The episode would open with Lisa, the female president, saying that she inherited a huge financial mess from Trump and stated that the country was officially broke. Just as the show predicted 24 years ago, there seems to be financial troubles ravaging the U.S. now. Though we do not currently have a female on the seat, the show's writers saw the future clearly enough to know that Donald Trump would leave behind a budget crunch that would throw the country into an economic meltdown. To show that it wasn't another mere guesswork that accidentally hit the bullseye, the show predicted that Trump would be arrested on the same day as the release of the Barbie movie, and his arrest would be underreported. Just as depicted in an episode in Season 5, a news reporter delivers the news of the release of a Barbie doll.
Oh, and the president was arrested for murder. More on that tomorrow night. Or you can turn to another channel.
And briefly mentions the president had been arrested. While this may seem like it had no relationship with the economic meltdown, which is going on now, the accuracy of the arrest in the old episode showed the prediction of a budget crunch caused by Trump's not-so-smart economic choices.
Remember, Mr. Biden inherited a 6.5% growth rate.
Was not merely coincidence. You can be sure that the writers of the show saw it years before Trump became president with uncanny accuracy. But I think the most important thing to pick from this fact is that the year 2024 could be a roller coaster for the economy of the United States and the entire world. World War III. One of the scariest predictions The Simpsons might have made so far is the rise of the Third World War. In November of '87, the show had just begun, and they made an episode in the second season that they called World War III. A lot of people seem to believe that it was a prediction of the Third World War. The episode begins with the main character of Homer rushing into the room as he wakes the family.
Wake up, everybody! It's World War III! Ah! The bombs are dropping!
And tells them to rush to the fallout shelter for safety.
All fast enough. This will be our last nuclear war drill. All right, everybody, back upstairs and into bed.
Because World War III is broken out. The episode sparked controversy, and some saw it as a joke that the writers of the show shouldn't have made. However, it could also be a peek into the future and a glimpse of what's to come. In 2024, people have been pointing back to that episode, and many observers believe that it may really be around the corner. It does seem like it if you ask a lot of people. There's so much tension going on in the world, and there seems to be no peace. Ukraine and Russia, Israel and Palestine, and many other places have power struggles going on in the world, and Wikipedia says that hundreds of communal wars are taking place in several countries around the globe. Do we need a soothsayer to tell us that something big and scary might be lurking around the corner? There's no doubt we might be standing on the edge of something that's greater than the world. And while the writers of The Simpsons may say that the World War III episode was a joke that they made over 30 years ago, they may have actually made another prophecy that we can only hope doesn't come to pass. Moving to Mars. Now for another prediction that seems less scary, the colony on Mars.
We're preparing to launch the first privately funded manned mission to Mars.
You're going to Mars? That's incredible!
In a 2015 episode called Friends with Benefits, The Simpsons participated in a government program that sought volunteers who wanted to move to Mars, and they won a one-way ticket to the Red Planet.
That's a negative.
Marge, no!
3, 2, 1.
However, the whole travel thing ended up being a fluke, and their fake rocket couldn't even take off.
It's not a real rocket. It's the outside of a real rocket.
We did plan to build a real rocket.
And that's one thing they can never take away from us.
That plan is our legacy.
The episode ended with a shocking prediction.
To inspire the next generation.
And to provide a distraction while we drove away.
In which we'd see a colony on Mars in the year 2051. Now, that may seem like another joke for those who are not familiar with The Simpsons' antics just yet, but for those who know the show and its prophetic powers, it shouldn't come as a shock when Elon Musk announced his ambitions to build a colony on Mars.
Mars seemed possible. Make it seem as though it's something that we can do in our lifetimes.
And he even planned to send the first set of volunteers there soon. Though the whole process is still in embryo stage right now, and due to harmful radiation and frozen water, the state of the planet doesn't support life. Work is ongoing to bring the vision into fulfillment, and according to Musk, the goal is to send 1 million people to Mars by the year 2050. And so the prophecy would come true, and there would be a colony on Mars in 2051. Flying cars. In another old episode, The Simpsons seemed to give a glimpse into what the future of transport would look like. A 2005 episode titled Future Drama shows how The Simpsons travel to the future, and they were seen moving around in flying cars.
Why'd you buy the first hover car ever made? Didn't you know it'd take time to work out the kinks?
I know!
Another joke meets science fiction in the year 2005. But now, 19 years later, The Simpsons can say we told you so. A company known as Samson Sky has developed a flying car. It's a three-wheeler which converts into an airplane at the touch of a button. And according to the company, the Switchblade model is set to launch later in the year, and it's bye to traffic jams. And just like The Simpsons, you can fly over busy roads and enjoy the beauty of technology. Baby Cry Translator Machine. Another prediction of The Simpsons may be coming to pass this year.
Well, here it is again. My baby translator.
Is technology that translates babies' cries and gibberish into real words.
Hungry? Are you cold? Do you want to go home?
Lady, you just gave me the idea of a lifetime. How do I thank you?
Please don't hurt me.
Consider it done.
That can be understood by parents. It sounds crazy.
Lavish attention on me and entertain me.
Maggie, you talk.
And no one would have thought something like that existed, but if you paid attention to a 1992 episode, Brother Can You Spare 2 Dimes, you'll recall Homer's half-brother Herb.
Herb, how have you been?
I've been living in a cardboard box, sleeping on grates, eating out of dumpsters.
Created something like that. When the episode was aired, no one would have taken it seriously.
I don't know, Herb. People are afraid of new things. You should have taken an existing product and put a clock in it or something.
But now, 32 years later, The Simpsons win again because we see technology becoming reality. A Swiss tech company has created a device that can translate baby cries into actual words. The technology uses artificial intelligence and sound recognition to analyze and translate baby language. So if your baby needs food, a change of diaper, or simply to sleep, this baby language translator has got you covered. The tech is currently expensive, but it may become affordable and widespread before the end of 2024. Expensive or not, the fact that the gadget now exists is another one in the bag for The Simpsons. Virtual reality food. This may be one of the most unbelievable predictions, or should we call it a joke, made by the show. In one episode of Season 11, we see them eating virtual reality fudge.
This virtual fudge tastes like crap.
And anyone in their right mind would discard this idea as impossible. I understand gaming and communications through virtual reality, but how do you possibly eat a meal or have a banquet through VR? Only The Simpsons knew what they had seen, but that was going to happen. However, fast forward to 2024, and we have wearable technology in which you can have virtual reality meals. Several companies have added their feathers to the Simpsons cap as they bring the bizarre technology to life. Will this tech become common and affordable in 2024? Only time will tell. But if it ever becomes affordable, would you want to have a taste of a virtual meal or virtual reality banquet with your friends? I guess I would give it a try in the end. Well, this is where the mind-blowing predictions come to an end. What do you think about The Simpsons show? Is it really prophetic, or are the writers simply lucky? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel so you'd never miss another great video like this one in the future. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.